good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. As I sit here waiting for this snowstorm that is supposed to be coming, that isn't coming, it's not, I've seen like a flurry, and that's it. This was supposed to have started last night. They're still predicting it. I have my doubts. But I'm going to talk today about something as I wait for this snowstorm that I have seen as one of the biggest impediments to people living a happy, contented life. It goes along in the vein of the Serenity Prayer, goes along in the vein of, as I recently talked about, Weird Bith Fularad, the idea that destiny is all or fate is inexorable. Along with that is the realization that we all must have that in any situation, any interaction we have with an individual that didn't go the way we wanted it to, something that developed into an argument, something that got your blood pressure going, something that got the other person's blood pressure going, getting canned at work, kicked out of school, you're young enough, trouble with your parents. The biggest mistake we make is when we look at those events in our life, we focus on the other person. We focus on who knows what, that you were sent to the store to get a loaf of bread and they were out of bread, and you came home and said they're out of bread. I bought a box of crackers, and the person that was waiting on the bread gets all upset. And then you get upset, and you have a big row. Next thing you know, you guys are sitting in divorce court over a loaf of bread and a box of crackers. And you focus on, it's all the store's fault. It was out of bread. If the store hadn't been out of bread, this would never have happened. Or he or she could have been satisfied with the box of crackers. That's all I could get. And this would never have happened. What's missing there is, what did you do? You bought the box of crackers. I'm not going to blame you for that. Nobody should. The store is out of bread. You couldn't do anything about it. But what you need to focus on is when that interaction started. How did you talk? How did you treat the other person? What choice did you make when ratcheting up the temperature? In everything we do, we need to look at ourselves and what we did. What the other person did is not important for our peace of mind, our serenity, and our growth as an individual. The only important thing is what you do. I practice this in my life. That doesn't mean I don't get in arguments. It doesn't mean I don't get angry, but I practice this. I focus on me. I've counseled this for years in all relationship destructions. It is almost never, ever one-sided. It is always two-sided, with exception, and it is almost always 50-50. So when my marriage collapsed, and trust me, I've got a list a mile long of things she did. That list is so long it is only eclipsed by the length of the things I did. And that's what I chose to focus on. I force myself to get over, forget about, not worry about anything she did. Because that isn't going to help me a bit. I may get a very tiny temporary bump of self-satisfaction about something the other person did, give you a sense of justification, and that is worthless to you. Instead, if I hadn't done this, then this wouldn't have happened. And if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened. And if this didn't happen, this didn't. And if this didn't happen, the divorce might not have happened. If you've ever seen the series Loki, I think it was on Netflix, he got arrested by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, whose job is to keep all the multiverses on track. And one little tiny innocent bump in the timeline can send a multiverse completely out of line. That's the point of focusing on what you did in anything. Because it could have been a tiny, seemingly tiny thing you did that if you hadn't done it, or if you had done it a different way, the final destruction would never happen. And when you live your life that way, you find eventually you stop to the point of having to analyze your past behavior to predict your future circumstances. That having to analyze the past gets closer and closer. It'll never get to the present where you perfectly analyze everything you're going to say, everything you're going to do before you do it. That's never going to happen. But you get closer. And getting closer, you minimize all of the negatives that'll happen in the future. If you want a key to a successful life, it is not in cars. It is not in beauty products. It is not in being a YouTube or a TikTok star. It is not being a Hollywood star. You're not going to find happiness there. You're not going to find contentment there. If you're looking there, you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be asking yourself, why? But if you focus on yourself and how you interact in everything, you get to the point where you can hold your head up high and say, I didn't do everything very good in life many times, but I lived a good life. I'm happy with my life. It could have been a lot better, but I'm happy with what it was. Because I know that I did the best I could with what I had. That's where you find contentment. Knowing that you did the best you could. And again, I am not talking about the best career, the best money making, the best anything as far as external. I'm talking about the best I could as far as internal. How I acted and how I behaved to everyone around me. When you die, nobody is going to be standing around your grave going, he was such a fantastically ruthless businessman, and he built so much wealth. She was such a beautiful person physically. They're not going to be talking about that. They're going to gather around your grave and we're going to be looking down. He would give his shirt off his back for you. He always cared about other people first. She would do anything for anyone in distress. She cared for everyone. You ever notice that? They're talking about how they treated everyone around them, how they cared for everyone around them. And you get there by focusing on how you act and how you react to everything that occurs around you in your life. And that's what you can change. Told you this was going to be related to the Serenity Prayer. We'll finish up with Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That's every damn thing that occurs around you. You can't change. You'll have no effect over it. The courage to change the things I can. That's every damn thing about how you choose to react to or act upon all of the rest of this stuff we can't control. And the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know all you can control is you. So when you get in an argument, what you can control is how you argue. When you get fired, all you can control is, what did I do to get fired? Not do it again. Focus on you and your actions and reactions. And when you die, they'll be gathered around your grave speaking truth of what a caring individual you were. Have a great day.